خير الصديقين وأفضل السابقين يا علي أنت زوج سيدة نساء العالمين وخليفة خير المرسلين يا علي أنت مولى المؤمنين يا علي أنت الحجة بعد على خلق أجمعين استوجب الجنة من تولاك واستحق النار من آداك قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم إن الله جل جلاله جعل لأخي علي بن أبي طالب فضائل لا تحصى كثرة فمن ذكر فضيلة من فضائله مقرا بها غفر الله ما تقدم من ذنبه وما تأخر صلوات محمد وعليه
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
I've recited this hadith in the past 2 lectures, and I've recited it again. Inna Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, indeed Allah in His Majesty has made my brother Ali ibn Abi Talib Fazail la tuhsa kasratan, that you cannot count the Fazail of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Faman dhakara fazilatan, whoever mentions out of the many Fazail of Ali one Fazila, just one, Mukirran biha. Let me just repeat this again. Mukirran biha. Say it with me. Mukirran biha. Mukirran biha means that you believe in it. Mukirran ikrar. You believe in it what you are saying about the fazilat of Imam Ali. Mukirran biha. And what happens? غَفَرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمْ مِنْ ذَنْبِهِ. And all the sins that he has committed in the past, in the future and the past, will be wiped off. So this is the value of reciting a fazilat of Imam Ali.
MashaAllah.
And I personally, whenever I read a fazilat of Imam Ali, I know that many of you here, hopefully all of you, when you hear the fazail of Imam Ali, it should make you happy. It should make your iman stronger. If it doesn't, then there's something wrong. I have to say that. If somebody hears a fazilat of Imam Ali, and from his face, there's not a glow, there's not happiness, there's something wrong with him. I'm not going to say what's wrong with him because I know what's wrong with him as well. But you also know what's wrong with them. I'm not saying who they are. There are groups out there. There are groups out there. When they hear the fazilat of Ali, and I have seen this on TV, and many of you, my elder brothers, you've seen this. During maybe 2 years ago, in Ramadan, Shahr Ramadan, there was this lady who was doing the Fazail of Ali, and this Maulvi said stop to this lady. He said to her that what we believe is not what you're saying. We believe Abu Bakr to be the most superior after Rasulullah. And he started to talk, and everybody's face, who were, Amjad Sabri, who passed away, he was in that gathering as well. Amjad Sabri's face changed as well. What is this man saying? So obviously that means there's something wrong with him. When it comes to the Fazail of Imam al-Muttaqeen, Amir al-Mu'mineen, the Fazail of Imam al-Muttaqeen, like Imam Ali, Naad Ali, we recite. What's the next one? Madhar al-Ajaib. I know most of you know it off by heart. But do you know what this word means? Madhar al-Ajaib? It means in who manifests the miraculous.
MashaAllah.
Mazhar al-Ajaib. So my question is, Sunnis recite this, Shias recite this, and Shias within Shias recite this. Shias within Shias recite this. The word Mazhar al-Ajaib. Mazhar al-Ajaib is the one who manifests the miraculous. Waqidi, he is a Sunni writer. In the beginning of his book, he writes these few words. He says, Imam Ali is a miracle of Rasulullah. He says, Imam Ali is a miracle of Rasulullah, the same way the staff, the asa of Musa was the miracle of Hazrat Musa al-Islam. And this is in the beginning of his book. Those who know Ali or try to know Imam al-Muttaqeen, Mawla Ali, for they lose their mind in Ali. They lose their mind in Ali. Who is this man? When we see him on the battlefield, he outperforms anybody we've seen in history. And then when we see him praying, he prays in such a way that if a arrow has entered into the foot of Imam Ali, during prayers, they can take it out, and no other time can this pain be relieved, only in the time of prayer. That they take this arrow from Imam Ali's foot. This is the status on the Masalla of Ibadat, the Masalla of prayer of Imam Ali. And then when we look at Imam Ali on the mimbar of Rasulullah, saying, Saluni, Saluni, Qabla an tufkiduni. Ask me before you lose me. For I know the paths of the heavens better than I know the paths of the earth. Allahu Akbar. People have tried to understand Mawla Ali. And when they looked at the personality of Ali, even non-Muslims, there is a writer who passed away in 2014, maybe 2011 actually, in 2011. His name is George Jordak. George Jordak, he's Christian, and he wrote 5 volumes on Amir al-Mu'mineen. 5 volumes. And he called the name of the book Sawtul Adalat al-Insaniya, the voice of human justice. The voice of human justice. He looked everywhere. When it came to justice, the voice of human justice was Ali. And he named the book Sawtul Adalat al-Insaniya, the voice of human justice. 5 volumes. And he writes this in his book. He says, after reading the whole of Nahj al-Balagha, I have come to this conclusion, that either Imam Ali created the whole universe. This is a Christian, not a Muslim. Either Mawla Ali created the whole universe, or he was present when the universe was being created. Either he created it, because when you read Nahj al-Balagha, it's telling you how the stars and the universe is held together. How can anybody know this? And he came to this conclusion. He's not a Shia, not a Sunni, but a Christian. Adib, he's a great writer. And he wrote in Arabic 5 volumes on Mawla Ali. This is the status of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And this point I've made about muqirran biha, believing in what you say. there are people who say something but don't mean it. They say something but they don't mean it. And I'll give you an example, a classic example of this. Many of you, I remember Amir asking me quite a few years back, he said, we listened to Tahir Qadri and we want to invite him to Newport. I said, okay, I will make contact with some people I know who know Tahir Qadri, and I'll try. And because he had an impact on the Shias, because what he was saying in his taqreers, in his majlis, in his sermons, the Fazail of Ahlul Bayt and the Fazail of Ali, and particularly the Fazail of Mullah Ali. So then a few years passed. He was in Canada at the time. He then did some speeches against what he had been saying. He wrote a book. Look at the name is beautiful. The way he's even put the name. Safar Jali fi munkar walayat Ali. Safar Jali fi munkar walayat Ali. This is Tahir Qadri's book. I've read it. And he talks about the walayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He talks about all the asnads of Khumm Ghadir. He talks about the imamats of the 12 imams in this book. And let me just give you the translation of what the book is in Arabic, not in Arabic, but the wording of the book is in Arabic. Safar Jali means the open sword. Listen to this. He calls the book Safar Jali, the open sword, fi munkar walayat Ali, who denies the walayat of Ali. Meaning, the sword is ready to chop you if you are the munkar of Fazail Ali or walayat Ali. This is the name of the book. And then 2 years later, after having this conversation with Brother Mead, he then changes the whole of everything he wrote. He denies that the Aima are mansus min Allah. He denies that, and he wrote it in the book. He then gives, and this is on the internet, he has given das on Nahjul Balagha. He has given, one man is saying, who? This George Jordak, saying that either Ali was present or he made it himself. This man who wrote all this before now is denying everything he is saying. Denying everything. He's saying they're not mansus min Allah, they're not imams. And in the book he's saying that they possess the hidden imamat, batini imamat. And whereas the khulafa, they have the apparent, the zahri khilafat. He wrote this. The question is, why did he do this? When he is written, and it is in front of you, you show to him the proof. His purpose, this is how he is trying to manipulate the Fazail of Ali without mukirran biha. Mukirran, believing in it. If he believed in what he said, he would never have changed his position. And this is the reason why in the hadith of Rasulullah, the condition is that you have to believe in what you're saying. If you don't, then you are just like any other munkar walayat Ali. Munkar Fazail Ali. You're like anybody else. Mukirran biha. That is the condition. You have to believe in what you are saying and what you are hearing. So what was the purpose of, I'm trying to sort of condense this as quick as I can because there's lots of material I want to get through today. So he is a politician. Who? Tahir Qadri. He has a political jamaat in Pakistan. He has a political jamaat. He has a political party in Pakistan. So a politician tries to benefit from anything he finds. A politician, this goes across the whole world. Doesn't matter where you are. A politician, be it in Great Britain, in America, in Europe, in Pakistan, India, every politician, if he could benefit from you in any way, he will. He was religious. Religious in the sense that he had a beard and the clothing. Tahir Qadri was religious. So he couldn't use the normal tactics of a politician. So he used the Fazail of Ali as his weapon. How? It's because in order for the Shias to support him, he needs to recite the Fazail of Ali. He needs to recite the Fazail of Ali to bring Shias on board. So if you got the Shias on board, you got the Barelvi Sunnis on board, you have a powerful Jamaat. But what happened? What happened? Instead, the programs, those of you who watch the programs, those of you who know, he did about 45 programs against the Ahlul Bayt and the Shias. 45 programs. During the month of Ramadan, Shahr Ramadan. Why? Because some people that I know who are close to him, they told me the reason why he did this. It's because the impact that he wanted from the Fazail of Ali did not realize. And then his own people, the Sunnis, were claiming that he was a Shia. So in order to say to the Sunnis that I am not a Shia, he then backtracked on what he said. Because he's not going to benefit from the Shias, at least get my own Sunnis back on board. Even they left him. I mean, a person who changes colours can't be trusted. A person who changes colours can't be trusted. And he's, Allahu Akbar. Anyway, so the politics of this man is that he used the Fazail of Ali in order to benefit himself. He used the Fazail of Ali. And if we go back into where I finished off yesterday, what I've said today is relevant to my topic, but I'm going back to where we were yesterday. Yesterday I told you that the Fazail of Amir al-Mu'mineen, like Amir al-Mu'mineen himself, he is a miracle. Amir al-Mu'mineen's Fazails are also a miracle. How? I'll explain how. Amir al-Mu'mineen's Fazail, Mawla Ali's Fazail are also miracles. When I said to you a period of 25 years yesterday, one generation, they did not hear any Fazail of anybody. They did not even hear Qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam or Sami'tu Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that we heard Rasulullah say this or Rasulullah said this. They were not allowed to hear these words, and these words are important in Islamic history, very important in Islamic history, and nobody heard these words for 25 years. Then the period of Mawla Ali spent his time in Jang-e-Jamal, fighting Aisha, Talha and Zubair, and then in Jang-e-Safin, Muawiyah and Amr ibn As and his party, and then the Khawarij, the Nawasib. So Mawla Ali's whole time was spent during battle, but even during these battles, somebody would ask him a question. Does anybody have the ability to say a khutbah in which there is no nuqta? Okay, people might get, a team of scholars might get together and write out a khutbah without a nuqta. But can you do it immediately? Mawla Ali did this. And this is a part of the heritage of Fazail Ali. Fazail of Mawla Ali are so vast, you've heard this over and over again, that you cannot count the Fazail of Mawla Ali. So, during this period, I told you, no Fazail of Ahlul Bayt, no Fazail of Ali. The question is, why? Why? Reason being, in politics, if you are of a high category person, you can use that as an argument to put yourself in a high position. The people who took over, Abu Bakr and Umar, for they had no Fazail. Listen, they had no Fazail. If you have no Fazail, and then there are people around you who are narrating that Ali is this, Fazail of Ali, Fazail of Ali, then people start asking, what are you doing on the mimbar of Rasulullah? What you are doing on the mimbar of Rasulullah? If the Fazail of Ali were mentioned in these periods, then people would ask this question. There was this deliberate policy of suppression of Fazail. A news blackout. All of you understand what a news blackout is? Nobody knows what's going on. And this is what happened in early Islam. And this policy of prohibition of hadith, of Ahlul Bayt, and even Rasulullah himself, his own Fazail of Rasulullah, were not mentioned. So the whole Ahlul Bayt from Rasulullah downwards were blanked. Nobody heard the Fazail of the Ahlul Bayt. All they were allowed to do, recite the Quran, pray, recite the Quran, do Hajj. Only those wajibats in which there's no ikhtilaf. Ikhtilaf meaning that the different disparity is in Fazail of Ali Muhammad. Fazail Ali Muhammad, this is what brings them down. This is what brings them down. The people in government, if Fazail of Ali did not bring them down, they would say, okay, carry on. Fazail of Ali. And then when Muawiyah took over, he changed his policy. Instead of banning Fazail of Ali, he then starts the cursing on the mimbars on Ali and Uladi Ali. And I have heard ulama say, they used to say, Ali Zawd al-Batul. Allah. Ali, the husband of Zayd Fadl Duzara. This is the way they were using this suppression. They were brainwashing the minds of the Muslim Ummah. Up until the point that even when Imam Ali was martyred, people in Sham asked the question, what was Ali doing in a masjid? People had heard so much negativity because cursing on the mimbar. I have read in some books that the cursing stopped by Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. I'm not going to narrate how this happened. There's a story behind this. How Umar ibn Abdul Aziz stopped the cursing on the mimbar. But in reality, this happened in the year 100. In the year 100 Hijri. So Muawiyah came into power. He refused to do the bayt of Imam Ali. In 25 Hijri. He refused. So that period, from that period right up until 100 years, 75 years. 75 years in his own regime in Sham, cursing. And then when he took power in 40 Hijri, the whole of the Muslim Ummah, this is from Morocco to China, borders of China, the whole of the Muslim empire was cursing Ali. How can anybody who believes in Ali and knowing these facts be a munkar of Fazail Ali? And this banning Fazail of Ali continued. People say, I've read in books, that people say that it finished in 100 Hijri. No, it didn't. Mawla Ali was not even considered a Khalifatul Muslimin. The Sunni brothers, they talk about Khulafai Rashidin. Was Mawla Ali considered a Khulafai Rashidin in the first century? No. Was he considered a Khulafai Rashidin in the second century? No. Was he considered a Khulafai Rashidin in the third century? It is only in the third century, in about 240, 250 Hijri, that Ahmad ibn Hanbal had the courage to actually mention the name of the fourth Khalifa, Amir al-Mu'mineen. 250 years it took just for the Sunnis to believe Ali is a Khalifa. Did anybody know this? This is the tragedy of Mawla Ali. This is the tragedy which befell Mawla Ali. There is so much information on this subject. There's different directions on this subject. And I have just given you basically the headlines. I've given you the headlines. I cannot go into detail because the time. If we had, more time, a longer period, I would be able to go into the details of what I've just said. But just for you, for today, that the first book written on the aqaids of the Sunnis was Abu Hassan Ash'ari. And he died in the beginning, at the very beginning of the 4th century. He died in the beginning. He's the one who actually gave them the Khulafai Rashidin, the 4 Khalifas. Before that, people didn't know who the Khulafai Rashidin himself has been taken from us and put upon them. Salawat Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For anybody to read the history of the tragedy of the Fazail of Mawla Ali, and then when he hears, I said to you yesterday, each one of you, what have you done to protect the Fazail of Ali? What have you done? Okay, mashallah, you have arranged this Majlis, the young boys. May Allah grant you great, great reward for this. Let's now have a look at another aspect of Fazail Ali. When Muawiyah took over the government, I'm not going to talk about, I talked about Khandaq yesterday, and there's battles that I want to talk about, but I haven't got the time. Those of you who know the Battle of Jamal, you know. And those of you who don't know, you'll just have to come along with me and then read up afterwards about the Battle of Jamal. The foremost in this Battle of Jamal, who? Aisha. And even Sunnis narrate this, Shias narrate this, every historian who has come has narrated that she was the foremost. Let me just tell you three different events of al-Mu'mineen Aisha. There's a point behind what I'm about to do now. In Bukhari, there's one event narrated by Muhammad Ismail Bukhari. This is when Rasulullah is ill. Bukhari says that Aisha narrates this event. She says that Rasulullah came into the masjid and he was being held up by Abbas and another man, Rajulun Akhar, another man, when they entered the masjid. And the person who was listening to this hadith, it's been written in Bukhari, who was this other man? Who was this other man? And the narrator says, it was Ali. It was Mawla Ali. al-Mu'mineen, she could not tolerate to mention the name of Ali on her tongue. She could not tolerate to mention the name of Imam Ali on her tongue. And then when Usman came and he was assassinated and killed, she was in Makkah. Where? In Makkah, doing Umrah. She had laid all the foundations for Usman to be killed, and when she knew that now the pot is cooking, I'm leaving. She left. On her way back from Umrah, a man was passing who was coming from Medina. She asked him this question, tell me what has happened in Medina. He said, Usman has been killed. Usman has been killed. She said, may Allah be praised. Next question, who has taken over the Khilafatul Muslimin in Medina and of the Muslims? He says, Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. She immediately says, may the skies have fallen down upon me. I cannot listen to this news. This is the anad, the bulls, I have to say this, that she has for Amir al-Mu'mineen. This is what she has said. The man said, hang on, one moment, hang on. Only a moment ago, you were saying that it's good that he's died, but now you're saying that Usman has died a Mazluman. He's died as a Mazlum. When she heard the news that Imam Ali has taken over, she changed her position there and then, standing in front of this man, saying he has died as a Muslim. And this man said, only a moment ago you were saying that, Alhamdulillah, he's dead, and now that you're saying he died as a Muslim. This was my first opinion, now this is my second opinion. This is narrated in Tariq Tabri. You have Tariq Tabri here. It has under the year 40 Hijri, on the year of the martyrdom of Mawla Ali. When the news reached Medina that Imam al-Muttaqin has been martyred, she then says a poem to hear this good news. For her, it was good news that Imam, because she hated him. And this is the history and the facts of history, that she played a central role in Abu Bakr becoming, her father becoming a Khalifa. She played a central role. I'm not going to go into this today, maybe tomorrow I'll touch upon this. So this lady then openly challenges Amir al-Mu'mineen in battle. She becomes the motto of the Battle of Jamal. The Jamal is called Jamal because she was on that camel. She was on the camel. And everybody was protecting the camel. So that battle has been remembered as Jamal. So can we expect anything good from this lady when it comes to the Ahlul Bayt? No. What would you say? No. But let's now go to the second chapter of this story. However, if you're a politician, you use anything at your disposal. Aisha and Muawiyah were basically of the same mindset. They were asking for the qisas of Usman, Muawiyah, meaning the people who were his relatives were asking, those people who killed Usman, they are in Imam Ali's army, and we want them to do blood killing or whatever is required from us. Imam Ali said, no, I can't do that. So during this time, the relationship between the two, Muawiyah and Aisha, was very good, because they were on the same party, hating Imam Ali. Their focus of hate was Ali and Ulad Ali and the Ahlul Bayt. However, let's now quickly go through history. When Imam Hassan is martyred, she gets on a mule and prevents Imam Hassan being buried in Rasulullah's haram. She prevents this, and that day is called Balagh, meaning the day of the mule, donkey. So she was one with Muawiyah. Muawiyah had Imam Hassan martyred, poisoned, and then a period, this is 50 years, Imam Hassan al-Islam died in 50 Hijri. 50 Hijri, she's still alive. The next few years changes the relationship between Muawiyah and Aisha. What happens now is that Muawiyah is asking for bayat for his son Yazid. And he comes to Medina and tells the people that I want you, people of Medina, to do bayat of my son Yazid. Muawiyah saying this. Some of the companions refused. And those who refused, they were given poison. They were killed. And obviously, you've heard that Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, he was killed in Egypt. And then also, her brother, Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr was from Asma bint Umas, another mother. Whereas Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr was from the same mother as Aisha. He was killed also, refusing to do the Bayt of Yazid. When Aisha realized that Muawiyah has killed 2 of my brothers, now the partnership breaks. The partnership breaks. Before, they were all fine. His position, Aisha's position was the same. Now the position has changed. Aisha now openly says in the books of history that, oh Muawiyah, and also the killing of Hajar ibn Adi, this pained her as well, that you have killed these salihin, these pure individuals. I now curse you in every prayer. Aisha is now saying this. First, they were of the same party. Now Aisha is cursing who? Muawiyah. She is now an old lady. Who? Aisha. Aisha is an old lady. Before, she challenged Imam Ali in battle, in Jamal. And then in 50 Hijri, she gets onto the mule with Marwan and Ali Marwan to fight those people who are bringing Imam Hassan's beer. So during this time, an old lady, Aisha is old now. What does she do? Does she take up arms against Muawiyah? No. How can she? She's got no army. Nobody is prepared to follow her because they already know what she has done in Medina. Nobody is prepared to follow her. She's already sat on a mule in order to prevent Imam Hassan being buried in the grave, next to the grave of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what does she do now? If you have nothing in your power, the only way of getting back at individuals or governments or people is to say that thing which makes you, or the people who are in power, in pain. So what does she have? What does she have? Which could make Muawiyah in pain, to give him some of his own medicine. So what did she do? She started to narrate the Fazail Ali. She started to recite the Fazail Ali. If you read what I've just told you, Bukhari says this, that she did not want to mention his name. When the time came, she had to mention the Fazail Ali. Why? It's because Muawiyah is preventing everybody from mentioning of Fazail Ali. But the word I said, mukirran biha. You have to believe in it. But she was using it as a political tactic to hurt the government. Why? It's because she's the wife of Rasulullah. She has a status in the eyes of the Muslims. She does. Even today she is regarded very highly in the eyes of Muslims. And even in that time, she was regarded very highly in the eyes of the Muslims. So, in order to get back at the killing of her 2 brothers, she started to recite the Fazail. And even in Bukhari, you have one chapter where you have this event, then you have Fazail of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra. Who from? Aisha. Then you have Fazail of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Who from? Aisha. You have Fazail of Imam Hassan Hussain. Where from? Aisha. This period is that period in which she took on the government of Sham, Muawiyah. So what happens then? She certainly has annoyed Muawiyah. Muawiyah is now very angry with Aisha. Very angry. And when Muawiyah becomes angry, he uses trickery and poison to kill. So what he does, he gets a hole dug and puts some wood and carpet on top of it. And then in that hole dug, there are spears pointing upwards. She is invited to that gathering. Why? Because she was mentioning the Fazail of Ali and that upset them. She didn't do anything else. She was cursing, but cursing in your own house, Muawiyah, okay, he could live with it. But she was openly saying these Fazails to Urwa ibn Zubair and to her other nephews. So Muawiyah had to take care of her. He invited her, and then she fell into that hole and she was killed. How did she die? She died reciting the Fazail of Ali, but not believing in them. Not believing in them. She was using them as a political struggle against Muawiyah. The same way today, in our own period, we find that people like Tahul Qadri have done the same thing. So she recited the Fazail of Ali. And many Fazail are from Aisha. And Tahul Qadri said this in one of his speeches. He said, why are you Shias complaining that Aisha hated the Ahlul Bayt, she hated Imam Ali? Look at these hadiths. They are from Aisha. But look at the time period as well. Wasn't at the beginning. It's when she had no other option. She's an old lady. She can't go to battle. So she died. Not believing in them, but reciting them. This is the mu'jiza of the Fazail of Ali. It kills those people even. The same way that Tahul Qadri is politically now dead. She also died the same way. Finally, just a few words of Masad. Had the events of history not been the way that we recite them, maybe the whole Islamic history would not have been the way it is today. And there's a hadith from Imam Hussain Islam which says, Sha'Allah an yurani katira wa nisa'ahunna sabaya, that Allah wants me to be killed. Imam Hussain is saying that Allah wants me to be killed and my household to be taken captive. If you look at this saying of Imam Hussain Islam and what Allah is wanting, Sha'Allah, Allah is desiring this, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala needs Hussain and Sayyidah Zainab Salamullah alayha to save Allah's wahdaniyat, Allah's oneness, the same way that Rasulullah said to Allah in Khandaq, that if Ali does not come back alive, there will be nobody to worship you. But this chapter is the chapter of where the sacrifice had to be done. In case of Imam Ali, he had to kill Amr ibn Abd Wud Amri. He had to kill him in order to save Islam. But on the other hand, in Karbala, it was sacrifice which was needed. And this sacrifice was not just of Hussain by himself. It was also his family. If you read the ziyarat of Sayyidah Sakina Salamullah alayha, there's one sentence which, when you read it, you think, how can this be? A lady, a young child of 4 years of age. Okay, if there's a lady, she can be called whatever status that you want to give her. But she is called Assalamu alayki Ya Saghirata Rukunul Huda. Rukunul Huda. She is the pillar of guidance. Sakina is the pillar of guidance. And this is the reason why that Sakina has played such a central role in Azal Hussain. For this beloved child of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, she is Rukunul Huda, she is the pillar of guidance. And when you go to the haram of Sayyidah in Damascus, she even today is Rukunul Huda. She is the pillar of guidance. Her masaibs are so many for a child who's so little. if they had let her go and the family go after the events of Karbala, maybe the events of Karbala would not have taken this form. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He in His infinite wisdom is asking Hussain and Zainab that I want you to save my name. Allahu Akbar. Yani these two individuals and the ladies and the children, for each one of them is Rukunul Huda and Arkanul Huda. During the journey from Kufa to Sham, and it could be from Karbala to Damascus, or from Sham, from Kufa to Sham. This event happened from Kufa to Sham. Is that during the journey, when they approached Damascus, some ladies threw some dates for them. And Bibi Sakina asked, are these dates of Hadiyah or Sadaqah? The lady said, this is Sadaqah. She said, do you not know? Nahanu Ahlul Bayt Muhammad. We are the people of Ahlul Bayt. We are the children of Ahlul Bayt. We are the daughters of Rasulullah. We cannot accept Sadaqah. Bibi Sakina, she became angry. She said to her auntie Sakina, said to her, Bibi Zainab Salamun Alayha, she said to her that I heard my father tell me one story. He told me the event of the camel of Saleh and how the camel was killed by the people. And the baby that she had, that camel, it went upon the mountains and it cried. It cried saying that, oh Allah, send your ghazab upon this people and destroy them. And Allah did this. Oh auntie, tell me, am I more superior, or is the camel of Saleh, the baby, more superior? She said, why? She said, I am now going to do bad-dua upon these people. She said, look at this head of your father. Look at the head of your father. He did not do bad-dua. For baby, do not do bad-dua upon these people. Because this is the Shah of Allah. This is the wish of Allah. When we see, even after the event of Karbala, we find that Shimon Malone, for a 4-year-old child, to have that torture, to see your own father killed, and then that same man to slap you on the face, and take away the earrings, and not to take them off, but to rip them off the earlobes. This is the family of Rasulullah. This is the family for whom Ayat Mawaddat was revealed. But this is the way they're treating the Ali Muhammad.